So I think the Clippers are going to win the championship, and I think the Mavs are a really fun watch. But last night's why they're just a bunch of kids. But it was a prime example. So Porzingis, Kristaps Porzingis, very good player. He got ejected from the game last night. Now, it wasn't like, the old real ejection where you swing at somebody and knock them down and they kick you out for a game. It was his second technical, and that's an automatic ejection. And that's a real thing here to discuss. Because Maverick fans were like, that's weak, referee. No. If you are one speeding ticket away from losing your license, I don't want to hear, well, it was only 9 miles an hour over the speed limit. No. You know what's funny about politics? You demand everybody. You don't want to hear about their childhood or their circumstances. You want to demand people are personally responsible. I don't care what's happening in their home. I don't care about their life. I don't care about their finances. Personally responsible. But yet, with your athletes, it's the ref's fault. No, it's Porzingis' fault. Got to be an adult. He knows the rules. We don't hold our athletes responsible, but we demand it from society with our politics. Kristaps Porzingis is smart. He knows it. The good news is he admitted it after the game. It was him, not the refs.
I saw him getting into Luka's face, and I didn't like that. That's why I reacted. But yeah, that's a smart thing to do from their part. And I just got to be smarter and control my emotions next time.
Of all the professional leagues, the NBA owners know it, the coaches know it, the GMs know it, they have seminars on it, the players know it, even the rookies know it, the trainers know it. This league is hypersensitive to fighting. My gut feeling is it's malice in the palace with such a black eye for the sport, they're hypersensitive. All leagues aren't sensitive. In hockey, Joy and I, you can watch a hockey game, the refs will let guys fight. They'll let it get until they can get their arms around them. They'll just let them go and throw haymakers. In baseball, not only can you leave the dugout, pitchers sprint in from the outfield to join fights. There's no penalty. In the NBA, if there is a skirmish and you are on the bench, if you leave a box a foot and a half in front of you, you're suspended for a game. If you leave the area, in baseball, pitchers sprint 60 yards to join the fight. No fines or suspensions. In hockey, they're wrestling for a while until the refs can get the positioning, knock each other out, okay. In football, guys push, trash talk. It's not the way it works in basketball. Again, personal accountability. Everybody knows the rules. You leave the box, you have game suspension. And that's the way the NBA has always been since Malice in the Palace. It's just, in fact, they have a term in the NBA. It's called escalator to the altercation. That's a term. If baseball was the NBA, you'd be thrown out for a week for sprinting toward the action. They have a term in the NBA for this. By the way, everybody knows the rules. I have seen LeBron James, one of the smartest basketball players ever, multiple times in his career during a skirmish. And what does LeBron do? He stays on the periphery because LeBron knows he's the best guy on the floor. Marcus Morris is involved in this. He's the 7th best Clipper. Porzingis is the 2nd best Maverick. You've got to know how valuable you are, especially to a young team whose best player's 20. Luka. I've seen LeBron James multiple times, and I've heard criticism through the years, like why isn't he getting involved? Because he's super smart. If you're a James Harden, you're a LeBron, you're a Porzingis, you're a Giannis, and there's a skirmish, you can yell, you don't get anywhere near it, especially if you've already got a technical. If you're one ticket from your license being pulled, the responsibility now is not on the cop. It's on you. It's totally shifted. Totally, completely shifted. But I think it's remarkable how in our politics, we demand accountability. No excuses for our athletes. Ref's fault. It's not the ref's fault. Doesn't matter how weak that first technical was. Once you get it, the responsibility, the burden of responsibility is on you, the adult, to stay out of that. By the way, let's talk the game. The first quarter and the first half was all offense. So in the NBA, I've heard this criticism for years. All you got to do is watch the last 5 minutes. Well, last night was a great example. So the Mavericks are a bad team in close games, 2-12. The Clippers are a great team in close games, 8-3. That's not random or insignificant. That's everything. Because in the NBA, and I've been watching it for 40 years, playoff games are decided in the last 5 minutes. And the last 5 minutes of that game last night is why the Clippers won. Dallas doesn't know how to win those games. They've been lousy. I've watched Dallas play a dozen times this year. Half the games have been close late. I don't think they've won any of them. They outplayed Houston, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, the whole game. Houston has Westbrook and Harden and Covington and veterans and beat them. You got last night, all you need to know is that there were multiple times, once on a fast break, where Luka is wide open and Seth Curry's thrown up a lousy three. Did you notice in the last 5 minutes how intense the Clippers defense got? You could look at their body language. Did you notice in the last 7 minutes that Dallas, who had 14 threes up to that point, last 7 minutes, Dallas hit 1 3. Dallas got no freebies. Dallas got no cheapies. The Clippers played real defense. And in the fourth quarter, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard either scored and assisted on all but 4 points for the Clippers. That's why the Clippers won. My bad, 2 points. Paul George and Kawhi scored or assisted on all but 2 points for the Clippers. The Clippers are the better defensive team. It won the game. The Clippers didn't allow any good looks on three-pointers. That won the game. And the Clippers got it to Kawhi, and everything ran through Kawhi. And then Kawhi got it to Paul. He got it to Beverly. He got it to all his veteran players. That's why the Clippers won. That is why veteran teams like the Clippers are good in close games, and super talented young teams like the Mavs are bad in close games. There is a saying in sports, and it goes across all sports. Do you know how to win close games? It's not just talent. Do you know how to win them? Dallas doesn't. Last night, you got Seth Curry coming down the floor. Luka's wide open. Seth bad three. It's not the way it worked for the Clippers. Every possession, find Kawhi, and Kawhi looking for Paul or Patrick Beverly or Lou Williams, looking for all the veteran players on the floor. That's why. This is not random. What happened last night was not about a technical. It was about a really great player for the Mavs not taking personal responsibility and not understanding his value. And the second part was 5 minutes left in this game. The Clippers totally clamped down and said, okay, fellas, we're real close here. Let's clamp down. And this is why I think the Clippers are going to win the championship. You know, there's always been this saying in the NBA, you can't flip a switch. Well, yes, you can. I flip a switch every day. I'm having a coffee. I'm cracking jokes. I'm messing around. Light goes on. I flip a switch. Boom. Hit it. Let's go. Talk. Rant. Interview. And then when the show's done, turn it off. Go listen to music. Have a ham sandwich. I flip a switch every day. You flip a switch for work. We have different personalities. You don't have a different personality. There's having a glass of wine with your wife. There's, boss is coming into the room. Have to act a certain way. You act a certain way with your dogs and your cats and your wife and your kids and your bosses and the management end. We all flip switches. I've never bought into this. Well, you can't flip a switch. Life is flipping a switch. I mean, football players, you're literally tackling people violently at 1:30. At 4:30, you're cuddling with your infant baby. You flip a switch. We all flip switches all day. The Clippers are going to be fine. I don't buy into this whole, the chemistry. Is Kawhi Leonard the best get a bucket, get a stop guy in the league? Yeah. Is Paul George an all-star? Yeah. Has Doc Rivers won a title? Yeah. Is Lou Williams the best sixth man? Yeah. Do they have young guys who can shoot? Yeah. Do they have big guys that can run the floor? Montrezl Harrell? Yeah. Do they have a great front office? Yeah. Is it a perfect roster? Pretty damn close. Best one in the NBA. So that game last night, that last 5 minutes is one of those classic. Watch the last 5 minutes again. If you go to YouTube or wherever you can get it, watch the intensity of the Clippers defense get really tight. No more free looks, and watch how everything with the Clippers offensively, it was just like, it reminded me of Michael Jordan. It was just like, all right, it's just Michael's not the point guard, but everything's going to run through Michael. Everything ran through Kawhi. Get ready, Clipperland. Start stacking those championship trophies. Get ready for it. It's a weird one. It's a bubble trophy, but it's still a trophy.